Hello and welcome to my January wrap-up. In January, I read 12 books. And before you get excited, for me, maybe, wow, you read 12 books. Yeah, well, most of them were manga, so here's the thing. Usually, in past years, I would not count manga, only if I read them physically or if they were an arc. But I read manga a lot. Whenever I need a break from actually reading a book, I read manga. Even manga that doesn't exist on Goodreads. I think it's like webtoons or whatever. I don't know. Doesn't matter. This year I decided I was gonna count most of the manga that I read because I wanted to reach 100 books and I'm doing it. I don't care how, but I'm doing it. So I'm kind of cheating. Even though manga are actual books, don't get me wrong, but yeah, that's the tea. Getting back on track, 8 of the books that I read were manga, so technically, if this had been a normal year, I would have read 4 books. Not a slay, so we're just gonna keep the manga. And then I read 1 fantasy, 2 romance, and a thriller. Who am I? I don't know. As for star rating, they were actually pretty good. I read a bunch of 3.5 stars. 9 of the books were 3.5 stars. Most of them, 8 of them, manga. And then I read a couple of 4 stars and a 4.5 star. Let's just get into the books because that's what matters. And this is gonna be kind of fast because I'm gonna bunch the manga together. Okay, we're gonna just get into it. So the first book that I read this year was How to Win a Breakup by Farah Heron, which I've read a book from previously. It was also an arc. And I really enjoyed it, so when I saw this on NetGalley, I was like, I'm gonna ask for that, and I thankfully got it, so yeah. We follow Samaya, who, after breaking up with her boyfriend before summer, when she comes back, there's some drama going on, and her ex-boyfriend is already dating somebody else. So her brilliant idea is, I'm gonna fake that I'm dating someone. So throughout summer, she's befriended somebody online. She doesn't know who they are, but they sent a blurry picture. So her best friend photoshops her into the picture and they pretend that she's dating that guy. Turns out that guy is a real human being that is not the online guy, so catfished, but she is working with him at a family shelter, volunteer work for school. So she ends up convincing him to actually fake date her, so that's what they do. That was a really weird way to explain this. It's a fake dating book about a girl who wants to win the breakup with her ex. I gave this a book a 4.5. It was so good. I almost cried on a plane reading it, but it was a plane, so I had to control my feelings. They were just cute together. It was a fun read. There was a moment at the end, I'm not going to spoil, that kind of bothered me, but it was fine. The only thing that I had to critique about it, hence why it's a 4.5, throughout the book, there's this like Instagram gossip account that like takes pictures of her crying and stuff like that. And there's a whole mystery of like who it is, and the reveal was really boring. That's the only complaint I have about this book. The rest of it is amazing, super fun. I recommend it if you like YA romance that is fake dating. It is really cute. And I think Farah Heron might be... I actually don't know how to say her name properly. I think somebody corrected me, but I think it's Farah.
Farah.
Okay, Farah. I should probably get into more of her books. I think she's written adult books, so I might get into those. But she might become a new favorite because both of the books I've read by her, I've really enjoyed. I need to have a third one to make sure. The next book that I read was another arc that's called Going Dark by Melissa de la Cruz. I've never read a book by her, so this was my first time. This is a thriller about a couple that goes on holidays to Italy, to Rome, and other places. And the girl is an influencer, travel vlogger, blogger person, and he just takes pictures of her when they're about to like leave Rome and their holidays to go back to America. They suddenly have a fight and he ends up on the plane alone and she never appears. Then the police start getting involved because she's missing. They don't hear from her, so she's reported missing. When they look into his luggage, they find her blood. So they think he killed her. That is the, like, plot of the book, I guess. I gave this a 3.5. It was okay. At first, I could not get into it. It was so boring, but then it got fine. So I could read it, you know? Obviously, I read it. It was okay. There were some plot twists that were kind of cool, I guess. My main complaints are the ending and the information we get were very info dumpy, and I don't like that. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. It was okay. Not my favorite. I don't really read a lot of thrillers, and I don't usually love them. Maybe it's a me thing, but I don't know. I just didn't really love it. The next 6 books I'm gonna group together because they're all part of the same series, and they're all the books in the Skip to Loafer manga that is out, I think, at least translated. I read all 6 volumes because I saw a Pinterest of like fan art, so I was like, ooh, I want to read that. This manga follows 2 characters, a girl who her whole life lived in like the country and she is moving into the city and living there for the first time to complete her high school, and she's moving in with her aunt. And at the same time we follow a guy, I have forgotten their names, so excuse me. We follow a guy and he bumps into her on the first day because she got lost on the train, so he helps her get to school, and I think that's it. It's just about them, her trying to navigate school and like trying to be friends with people when she's been used to having like 8 people in her class and suddenly there's a million people, and him being kind of obsessed with her. Yeah, it was cute. It wasn't anything like, oh my god, this is so great, top tier content, but like it was cute, I'll admit that. Nothing really that interests me happens. It's like a slice of life, I guess, where you just see the characters going through life. There were a few cute romantic moments, but like I'm more of a romance person when it comes to that, so it was like, okay, I guess. I don't know if I will continue with it because I've already forgotten most of it. Then the next 2 books that I read are also part of a series, and they're the first 2 volumes of My Little Monster. I think it's by Robico. I watched the anime first and I really liked it because it's cute, so I decided to read it. I only read the first 2 because I got kind of bored. I think I just prefer it in a anime form rather than the manga, but I think I'm still gonna read it because I want to know what happens after the anime is finished. So I think I'm gonna just like read until the anime and then maybe I'll be interested. If not, I will stop. The next book that I read is the only physical book that I read. We sense a problem. But it is Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. I read this because of TikTok, okay? I would have never, ever found out about this if it weren't for TikToks. This is about a guy called Misha and a girl called Rien, I think. They have been pen pals since they were like 10, 12, whatever it is, young, because of school, but they continued with it until their late teenage years, which is when this takes place. But then one day, Misha meets Rien at a party. He realizes that it's her, she does not. And after that, he stops writing letters to her. So after a couple of months, Misha goes to Rien's high school. We don't know why, we just know that he's going there. And he changes his name to Mason with an E. Again, Rien is stupid, does not realize it's him, and smut, basically. I don't know how to explain the plot of this book. It's basically about 2 teenagers. He kind of bullies her because she's a bully. Is it a good book? No. It's kind of the same as Mindfuck. I think this is a trend with TikTok books. Mindfuck was a terrible book. Terrible. Was it entertaining? Extremely. Same goes with this. It was entertaining. The smut, spicy as hell. Not extremely spicy, but like spicy. There were some things in here out of fucking pocket. But this was entertaining, and that's all I care about in books, really. If a book is entertaining and I'm entertained, that's all that matters. Am I ever gonna read another book by Penelope? Probably not. Maybe Eagle Legally. If you don't know the meme, I'm really sorry. And the last book that I read in January was another arc called In the Shadow of a Hoax by Maci Aurora, which is a pen name of an author I've also read from before, which I found out yesterday. I was a little bit flabbergasted because of that. This is a sequel to the first book that I've also read, which is In the Shadow of a Wish. It is about a bunch of siblings in this world where women don't have the choice in anything, really. They can't have money, they can't have property, and if they reach the age of 26, they're like sold off because they need to be married by then. And if they're found alone in the woods or something, they will be like captured and sold off as well. So yeah, it's a fun time to be a woman in this world. This one is about the second oldest sister, I think. We follow Tarly after beating up a guy because he got handsy. She runs to the woods and hides as dressed up as a boy. And there she encounters Lachlan, which is the prince of a neighboring kingdom. People have attacked him and his like group of people, and he fell off a cliff and almost died. So Tarly takes care of him, nurtures him back to health. Basically that's the plot of the book. This book has the tropes of one bed, forced proximity, my wife, marriage of convenience. Lovely stuff, really. It was really fun. I also gave this book a 4-star. It's kind of divided in 3 parts. I like the first part better, which is the one where they're in the woods. When they get out of the woods, it's also fun and fresh. The last bit, not so much. The ending was not amazing. There was one scene in there that I liked. I'm not gonna spoil, but the rest was a little bit... Overall, it's really fun. It's also a smut book, and it is really good. Maci Aurora, or CJ Waters, I think. They write really good smut, so highly recommend this book for that if you want that. Those are all the books that I read. So many physical ones. I need to stop doing this to myself. I really need to focus on this. But that is everything for today, and I'll see you in my next word video. Bye!